Okay, so I'm doing my project on recycling. So first off, I want to figure out how many people are actually recycling. I know at the beginning of this project, I never recycled, so I want to see what my friends are doing and if they were like me and not recycling. So I'm gonna make a few calls.
Chelsea.
Yo, I gotta ask you a question for a project real quick.
Okay.
Do you recycle at all? Like anything?
At home, I do. So yeah.
No, like at your apartment.
At my apartment now.
Do you know like where you could recycle, like where you could like bring your stuff?
I mean, if I wanted to, I could do it, but
Like, do you know of a place where you could bring it though?
yeah, I mean, like trash, other than trash bins on campus now.
Okay, cool. Later.
Bye.
Hey baby, can I ask you a quick question for my recycling project?
Yes, of course.
So does your apartment recycle at all?
No.
Do you know like where you could bring your stuff if you wanted to recycle?
No.
Okay, thanks babe. Talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye. Yo, Joe.
Yeah, what's up?
I just gotta ask you a question real quick for ethics project. Do you recycle at all? Like at your apartment?
No.
Do you know like where you could bring your stuff if you wanted to recycle? Like, do you know of a place?
Nope.
All right, thanks. Later.
Alright.
Brooklyn, do you recycle? No? Okay. So, as you can tell, recycling isn't very popular with my friends or in this apartment complex in general. And this project's going to kind of go into what that means and what we could be doing and some of the benefits of what could happen if we did start recycling and we did make that extra effort. So I'm going to go into some of the information now. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how I've been recycling for these past 3 weeks. I've been taking all the trash that's been around my apartment, the recycling at least, and I've been putting them in to these bags here that I now have to count and bring to the recycling facility. So I'm going to go ahead and count these up and use it as my project data. Okay, so I just counted these up and I got 132 cans. So that's 132 cans in 1 month for just one apartment with 2 people living in it. So I just counted the bottles up, and I got 21 bottles here. So it's 21 bottles in 1 month for the same 2 people living in this apartment. So as you can see, this is our trash chute. This is where this whole apartment complex puts all their trash, including bottles and cans. And it's also where I used to put all my bottles and cans. But now we're going to the recycling center. Okay, so here's the recycling center. It's not that far from my house. It's an easy drive, open all day. Okay, so here, recycling all the glass. Now for all the cans, all 132 cans. So here you can see my baseline data for the first 2 weeks of the project. I mainly want to focus on the aluminum cans and the glass bottles. As you can see, we had about 125 12-ounce cans and 22 12-ounce bottles, which made up about 4.85% and 12.83% of our trash, respectively. So here's our data for the next month. It's a little less total because we had less people over. We consumed less alcohol containers, which is what this mainly composes of. But you can still see here we have 132 12-ounce cans and 21 12-ounce bottles, which make up of 2.56% and 6.13% of our waste, respectively. So some of the implications for these are just some basic numbers that I found. Is one recycled can equals 3 hours of television. So at the rate of which we were producing these cans, these recyclable cans, that's 132 cans per person per month, which equals 396 hours of TV per month. Another fact I found was that one bottle equals 4 hours of light bulb power. So at our rate, by recycling these bottles, we were able to save 84 hours of light bulb power. So this is just an example of how I extrapolated it. I couldn't really extrapolate it for all of Clemson because I figured all of Clemson has better access to recycling than Crawford Falls does. I live in Crawford Falls, and here we have no access to recycle, easy way to recycle within our apartment complex. So I'm going under the assumption that no one else in Crawford Falls recycles as the same way I did, or the same way I did before. So Crawford Falls has approximately 84 apartments. So if they're all producing the same amount of recyclable waste as we are, that's 11,088 cans and 1,764 bottles that are not being thrown away. That are being thrown away instead of being recycled, because Crawford Falls does not have an easy way to recycle. And as I've shown, many people here do not recycle, just like I did before this project. Okay, so now that I've gone over some of the numbers for our apartment, I want to go over some implications as to if we started recycling on more of a grand scale. If places like Crawford are able to provide easy recycling solutions as opposed to letting us figure it out for ourselves. So economically, recycling creates new businesses that haul, process, and broker recovered materials, as well as companies that manufacture and distribute products made with these recycled materials. It's estimated that the recycle and reuse industry employs over 1.1 million people and generates an annual payroll of nearly $37 billion and over $236 billion in annual revenues. So that's a huge amount. And that's what we're already recycling, not including what we could be doing. So as far as energy goes, for each pound of aluminum recovered, it's estimated that Americans save about 7.5 kilowatt hours of electricity, which is enough electricity to meet the electric needs of a city the size of Pittsburgh for 6 years. So recycling also reduces our output of methane gas. In 2005, it is estimated that through recycling, we saved over 48 million metric tons of carbon emissions from going into our atmosphere. This is the equivalent of taking 36 million cars off the road for 1 year. So another benefit of recycling is how much landfill space we're saving. In 1996, it's estimated that 130 million cubic yards of material were taken away from landfills by recycling. If this amount of material had not been recycled, just thrown out, that it's estimated that we would have needed an extra 64 landfills, each with the capacity to serve the combined populations of Dallas and Detroit. So these are just some of the grand scale implications that recycling have, and these are all stats of how much we've already recycled, not counting how much we should be recycling and how much more we can do. So as far as our recommendations go, we need to do two things. One, we need to start making recycling easier for people. Like I said before, in my apartment complex, there's no easy way to really recycle. So it takes people going out of their way to actually go recycle, whereas if they just provided a few extra bins where we could recycle, they could make a huge difference, and they can make it easier for a lot more people to recycle. Secondly, that brings us to my second point, which is we have to go out of our way to recycle. As in Norton's theory of weak anthropocentrism, he talks about felt preferences and considered preferences. Our felt preference is to just throw the stuff away because that's the easiest for us to do thing for us to do. It doesn't take a lot of time, doesn't take a lot of effort or planning. But when we really consider the benefits of recycling and how it can help us, then then we go out of our way to recycle. Those are our considered preferences. Those are the way we shape our values and our morals, and that's what we need to start doing. Is even if it's not easy for us to recycle, we need to take the small extra steps to just go ahead and do it ourselves and use our critique our felt preferences of just throwing it away and use our considered preferences of realizing that recycling is something that if we all come together and do on a grand scale can really make a difference in the world.